What's going on, guys? I'm super excited to walk you through this installation and review of the electric sunshade for the Tesla Model 3 by Hanshow. This thing promises to keep the cabin cool, block UV rays, and add a sleek OEM look, and it surely does look OEM. I've been waiting for this to come up for a while now since they introduced the Model Y electric sunshade, so finally this is here to show you how to install it. I'll have links below this video should you be interested, along with a coupon code. And here's what comes with the sunshades as well: fish wire, some electrical tape, some felt tape, the 2 brackets for the front window and also the 4 brackets for the rear, and also some screws and only 1 cable to install this, making it super easy to install. So I laid this out here. Here's the front, and then the rear. Let's just pretend the middle is the center beam of the Model 3. And here's the cords we have for the front and the back. These 2 are going to connect to one another, this black on black. And then of course the only other 2 is the power connectors, which will be fed with our wire from the battery, which will connect to the seat, under the seat. So the first thing we have to do is take out the rear bench seat. There's 2 little slide clips under each seat to remove the bench from. And before you yank it out, you have to disconnect the wires. There's 2 of them on either side for the heated seats. Just simply unclip those and also feed through the seatbelt holster, and the bench should come completely out. Here you can see I'm disconnecting the high voltage battery as a safety precaution. I'm sure this is just optional, but I did it anyways. And then you'll see where the red and negative terminals are for the 12 volt connecting points. I'm just loosening up the ground terminal, the negative, and then I'm going to connect the positive wire next. You'll notice I have another wire in there for the rear trunk. It's because I have a 2018 Model 3 and I did not have a power trunk, so I need to have 2 wires. You should not have any if you have a newer Model 3. And now I'm going to reconnect the high voltage battery. And you can see I pulled back the weather seal and I fed through the wire under the plastic frame. And this is pretty easy. We're just going to feed it up through the side of the vehicle. And I'm just going to reinstall the bench here and reconnect the heated seats. Clip it back into place, making sure the seat belt is pulled through the hole. And I'm just going to feed up that wire through the B pillar behind the weather seal up through that fabric liner. And I'm just reaffixing the weather seal as I go. You also have to pull down the top of the weather seal, and I'm going to expose, here's the airbag. And I want to emphasize, when you feed these wires, do not feed it under the curtain airbag. You want to feed it over the top of it. A little trick I found out here is I'm unscrewing the fabric frame here because I had a really hard time feeding through the wire. So if this pops loose, and then you can pull down a little bit of that fabric liner to feed the wires through. It'll make your life a lot easier if you just loosen up that fabric liner to feed the wires through. Once you have it fed through, you can remove the electrical tape from the end. And we're going to feed 1 power connector from the rear and also 1 from the front. And you can see I had another hard time feeding the wire through the center column, so you can just pull this down. It's just clipped in. It looks like it's bending really bad, but this is pretty forgivable stuff. So you can see I just snapped it back into place. 1 power connector is going through the front, 1 is going through the rear, and you can simply snap this liner back into place. And then reaffix that screw into the coat hanger, and then also reaffix the weather seal. And now I'm going to put in the first sunshade with the latches, place those under the liner and the window. And I'm going to place in the first sunshade to the front. And I'm letting it rest on the headrest to make my life a little bit easier, you're gonna have to feed that black wire through the center column. So I'm just gonna pull down again, unsnap it from the top to make it easier to feed through. And that black wire connects to the rear sunshade. And also, you saw me earlier connect the power cord to that front sunshade. And now you're just gonna simply push back the frame to clip into the fabric liner in the rear, and then you're gonna fix the screws to the clamps that we installed earlier. And I'm sitting on the center console just to get this thing in place. And it might be helpful with 2 people. It was a little bit challenging with just doing it by myself, but I made it happen. This is probably the hardest part, is literally screwing in this top part, making sure it's level, complete, test out the window, make sure it works, sunshade's working just fine. And now we're going to install those 4 clips. I want to emphasize that the larger, or I should say the wider clips are going towards the wider side of the frame, and then the more narrow clips go towards the rear. And you have to take off this fabric. It's just simply held on by some strong Velcro. Just pull it right off, and then we'll install these clips like so. It just snaps right in, making sure the felt is upright, and you'll hear it clip into place. And then you should be able to slide any which way to align it to the frame of the sunroof shade. And you can see I have the black connector and also the power connector, and that should be it for the cables hanging out. And also, you see on the other side we also installed the clips. So now I'm going to do the same thing, bring this in. I wish the cords were a little bit longer from the power side, but it's manageable. Just connect the black and then connect the power cord. Just kind of tuck the wires into the fabric liner once it's all connected. Then you're just going to place it over the liner, and then we're going to take our screws, as you see, into the plastic clips we installed earlier, and also for the rear just line up the holes and adjust it as needed. Repeat that for the other side as well. Once that's installed, we're going to install our fabric liner. Just remember, we have to connect the switch back to the frame before you see that white wire hanging down. Connect that up like I'm doing there, and then this will just literally re-velcro back to the frame of the rear sunshade. Test it out, make sure it works. And then lastly, we're going to install this black felt tape to hide the, I guess you can call it the little metal clips or frame. It just sticks right on, super easy. And that's it for the install. As you can see, it looks very OEM, like pretty darn close. Love the way this looks. Just push a button, it opens. It's also voice activated, which I'll show here in a moment. That button in the rear is super easy to push from when you're driving. Just reach your hand around and push it. And it also stops any which way. It doesn't have to be fully closed or open. They're both independent. You can see if you want it halfway open, just push the button again. It'll stop. Back to close. Stop it and push it open again. It can be stopped any which way or position that you like. Hello, TT.
I am here.
Open sunshade.
Open.
Open the rear sunshade.
Open.
Close the sunshade.
Close.
Open the sunshade.
Open.
Open the rear sunshade.
Open.
Again, feel free to check out the link below with my coupon to save some money at checkout. Until the next video guys, stay safe and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.